Morning. God bless the faithful, the called, the chosen. This is Sister Liberty. I am so grateful for the church that God has placed me in. I would invite you, but it's not for everyone because my church is exclusive. My church is elite. My church is a trailblazer. My church is peculiar. It is not of this world. My church is magnificent. My church is an earth shaker. Everyone can't be invited to such a great place and to really partake in what God is doing there. He's doing so much. He's doing so much that I can't even share it all with you. You would just have to come and see, but you would have to be invited. You would have to be invited. You would really have to be a chosen person, a called person, a person who loves the Lord, a person who's destined to spend forever with God. That would have to be you. That really would have to be you. It's not for those who doesn't want to inherit eternal life. It's not for those who does not want to spend forever with God. It's for those who actually want to go. It's for the hungry. It's for the thirsty. It's for the gold diggers, those that are looking for treasure, those that are looking for gold, those that are looking for wells. It's for those. It is for those. The Lord has allowed there to be so many different testimonies shared. And when you hear people's testimonies, that's supposed to motivate you. That's supposed to encourage you. That's supposed to draw you closer to God. That's supposed to stir up like some joy on the inside, stir up just some praise and some worship. That should move on you to just bless God and to praise God. I had a chance to hear many testimonies last night, and even being reminded of one of my very close testimonies last night, and just hearing different people's walk of life and what that person went through and what that person went through. And overall, as I was hearing the different testimonies, I realized that person, I realized that the Lord loves this person so much that the Lord went through killing people to get them. The Lord went through shaking the earth to get them. The Lord went through hell and back to get them. The Lord went through that to get them. And I realized the Lord loves us. We know the Lord loves us because the Lord chose us. He could have chose that person. The Lord chose us. He chose me to be a part of a great work. He's not choosing everyone. You may think that he is. You may think that it's that simple. You may think that it's like a sign-up sheet. Hey, you want to come to church? You want to serve God? Here's a sign-up sheet. You may think that it's as simple as that. Showing up and signing your name and saying, hey, I want to be a part of this. Hey, I want to sign up for this. I want to volunteer for this. It's not that simple and it's not that easy. God has to choose you. And in his choosing, he's very peculiar with what he's selected and what he's choosing. He's very specific. And what I'm learning is when the Lord really wants a person, he will take lives for them. When the Lord really wants a person, he will go through the storms to get them. When the Lord wants a person, he will take lives for people. And that's what I was hearing yesterday. The Lord took that person's family member. The Lord allowed there to be a whole earthquake just for this person to get here and kill thousands of people. The Lord will begin stripping you of things. One person shared their testimony of how God had to get to them, and everything was taken from them. Everything. Every time they turned around, everything was being taken from them. And what was interesting about the individuals who shared how multiple things were being taken from them is how they were not the only peoples involved. They were not the only ones involved of what they were experiencing in their world. There were other people who they were connected to who was right there in the same place, experiencing the same thing and watching it all unfold. Yet they decided to answer the call. Yet they decided to accept the invitation. Yet they decided to run and to surrender. Why is that? Why is it that we all experience the same thing? When we got evicted, I was there with you. When you got evicted out, I was right there. Whenever you pulled the car, I was right there. But it didn't impact me the way it impacted you. It didn't move me the way it moved you. God is willing to move people out of your way just to get to you because he wants you. He desires you. The children of Israel came to my mind this morning as I was considering how, man, God will strip people of some things. God will kill people. God will set the planet off its axle just to get to you. Considering that and what it took for the children of Israel to actually be free. God had to kill people. God had to release plagues. God had to literally strip Pharaoh from his kingdom, from his throne, and make an example out of him just for the people, for the children of Israel to be free. How much more you? What is God willing to do for you? Because I also considered what the people of the world are willing to do to get a person who they may be so in love with. So as I was thinking about that, certain songs, quickly came to my mind. Just the lyrics of what was being communicated in the song. Like one of the songs, this person was so desperately in love and so willing to keep the person and to get the person that they were willing to do whatever. Even, jump in front of a plane, throw their hand on a blade, catch a grenade for the person. Like they were willing to do whatever it takes. Like, I'll give my life for you. There was another song where it said, I will go to hell and back for you. What kind of person do you have to be to risk your life for something that you consider valuable? What kind of person? And how valuable is this thing to you? It's so valuable. You're saying that, man, this person is so valuable, I will give my life for them. There's something about them that I can't find anywhere else. There's something in them that I want access to. There's something on the inside that I want to be around every day. I want access to this because there's something in this person that's valuable that I'm willing to jump in front of a train if I have to. If I have to. For you, because my love for you is so great. My love for you is exceedingly, I'm willing to do whatever, even if I got to throw my hand on a blade, even if there has to be some bloodshed, even if I have to walk through hell and back. That's what one of the artists has put in her songs. Like, I'll walk through hell and back for you because I love you. How much more God? Now, I'm not saying that God will commit suicide, but he may take some lives to get to you. Jesus died on the cross, so he gave up his own life for you. You have people in the world who they're just that crazy. Love or lust makes them that way because of how much love they have for that person and that thing. Like, I'll do whatever for this person. I will do whatever. I will go to jail for this person. I will kill people for this person. I will lie for this person. That's how much I love this person. That's how much I consider this person to be of value. This person is so valuable that I will lie to the feds, to the government. Like, yeah, I would do it. God will take lives. God will turn the world upside down just to get you out of the miry clay, just to get you out of the pit. He will do that for you. He's done that for so many of us. And in those moments, you don't really understand why your world is falling apart, why you're losing everything, why everyone around you is dying, why it seems as though things go from bad to worse, why it seems that your world is crumbling down. Like, in those moments, you really don't understand that God is really trying to work everything out for your good. Although in those moments, it feel like, God, I feel like you're against me. God, why are you shaking my world like this? Why are you taking people from me? Why are you stripping everything from me? And the Lord is like, you have no idea how much I love you. Like, I'm not this person. Like, I'm not going to throw my hand on a blade and jump in front of a train for you, but I love you so much that I'll take lives. I love you so much that I'll let them repo your car. I'll let them evict you. I'll let them release you from work. That's how much I love you. Whatever it takes to get you, because you're valuable to me, you're precious to me. What I put inside of you, I want a return on. I want an investment. I want to invest off of. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to kill people for you. You don't know that God does that. You don't know. You need to read Exodus, where God took away every firstborn of Egypt just for the children of Israel to be free. He took their lives. For Moses to be the one who was going to set this nation free, the Lord had to kill all of the other babies. Otherwise, his mom would not have hid him. She would not have had a reason to hide him and understand how precious he was, how valuable he was. The seed was in Moses from birth. The seed that God had planted, the chosen seed that God had planted in Moses, wasn't Moses from birth. He was chosen at birth. No, all the other babies, they're going to be thrown into the Nile River and the crocodiles are going to eat them. But you, no, I have to preserve you because the Lord is saying something about you. That's many of our testimonies. Some of the sisters share testimonies where their mom gave them up to a voodoo priest or a witch doctor, to get rid of them. Some people have stories where their mom, when their mom was pregnant with them, their mom tried to drink something to get rid of them, to abort them, and it didn't happen. It did not happen. People had other different testimonies where you knew, the enemy was trying to take that person out from birth because the enemy saw, just like Jesus. Jesus was a baby. Jesus was a baby, yet he had people looking for him. Herod wanted to take his life as a baby. Why? Oh no, there's something about this baby. Although this is mature or immature now, it's small now, this is gonna be something great. And so I gotta try to destroy it at its weakest point when it's immature. That's what the enemy tried to do with many of us. He allowed us to experience things that was supposed to destroy us, that was supposed to defile us as kids and as young adults. I hope that what this person goes through, it messes them up. I hope that this happening to this person, that they never find God, that they never surrender, that they never know that God really loves them. I want to destroy this person from their core. I want to destroy this person at their birth. That's why many of us, we went through things as children, as babies. We went through more as children and as babies than we did in our adulthood. Why? Because this person is young. If I can get them when they're immature, if I can get them when they're vulnerable and moldable and shapeable, then I'm going to do it. And what the enemy meant for our bad, God turned around and made it for our good. God turned it around and he opened our eyes. He called us out of Egypt. He called us out of bondage, out of a lifestyle of sin. And he's making us a great nation. He's making us a great people in the earth. He's called us out to bring us in. Yeah, many of us came from bondage. We came from prison. We came from prison. I believe it's Solomon that says, out of prison, we've come to reign. Yeah, I was in bondage back there in Egypt. I did a lot of different things. Although I had good moments, but there were moments where I lost myself. There was moments where I did not want to live anymore. There was moments where things were just hard and bad. God, this is a messed up situation. God, why is my life so messed up? God, why did you choose me? Man, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember I would have thoughts like that. Like, Lord, why did you make me born to go through this? Like, why is my life so hard? Why is my life this way? Why me? I didn't ask to be here. Why are you making my life so hard? Why are you making my life this way? That person's life is great. That person has everything that they ever wanted. They have both of their parents. Both of their parents has been to college. They have the nicest shoes. Their hair is always done. They have the nicest clothes. Why can't my life be like theirs? And then when the Lord calls you and he cleans you off and he puts on you new garments and crowns and a ring on your finger and shoes on your feet and he begins to open your eyes to everything, you're grateful now. And he begins to show you like you have no idea what that other person was going through when they were at home with both of their parents. You have no idea that their parents always fought, always argued. You have no idea how much their parents were not invested in their lives because their parents were invested in their careers and how that person was always left to themselves. And you see the outcome of it now. You see how the person turned out. But look at you. You are a king and a priest. I've set you over the nations. This is who you are. And then you begin to be grateful. You begin to thank God for choosing you because he didn't have to. That's the thing. We can feel as though, no, God better have saved me. No, you have no idea what he saw on you that he does not see on others. You have no idea how many God is walking by, passing by, leaving to themselves. I'll leave that one alone. That one looks like they're fine. They're okay. They can be without. They're all right. They're fine. This one right here, there's something about this one. Although you went through so many things. Yeah, you were touched inappropriately. You were raped. You were molested. You were verbally abused, sexually abused. You know, your parents were into witchcraft, so you saw different things. You saw the different crystals and the different voodoo dolls. You were in that. You grew up in that. You saw the drunkenness of your father and the violence of your father and the perversion and the promiscuous spirit that your mother walked in, you were exposed to that. You saw how the family always went at it and how they were gossip and everyone was against each other. You saw that. You experienced that. You felt the effects of your family members telling you would never be nothing. You would never amount to nothing. You're going to be just like your mother that had kids out of wedlock. You're going to be just like your father who's no good, who's a vagabond, who did nothing with his life. He did drugs. You're going to be just like these people. You're not going to amount to nothing. You're dumb. You're stupid. You're ignorant. You're weak. Look at you. Look at the family that you come from. Look at you. Those are the ones that God goes after. Those are the ones that God considers as value. The world may have saw you as nothing. What they call it a square. Yeah, the world saw you as a square or a circle. I don't know which shape it is. They didn't see you as a star. The world didn't see you as a star. They saw you as something else. And although you went through all of these things, God saw something valuable in you. God said, I want this one. And I don't care what it takes to get this one. You know, if the celebrities can sing about it, then that should tell you the heart of people, that when you really value something and you love something so much, you're willing to do whatever. God is like that. God is like that. Like I said, he may not jump in front of a train and catch a grenade for you, but he's willing to set things on fire to get to you. I'm willing to strip you of everything. I'm willing to make life really, really hard for you so that you turn to me and so that I can show you who you are, so that I can show you who you were born to be from the beginning. Like this was in you from the beginning. I put it in you. Lord, why did you put me up for adoption? Lord, why was I in and out of foster care? Lord, why was I in and out of juvie? Why was I a bad child? Why did they say these things about me? They said I was going to never be anything. They said I was going to be one who just lingered in the streets. Why, Lord? Why was my life hard? Lord, it took a lot from me. And the Lord is like, yeah, but I restored you. Yeah, but I gave you more than you started with. Yeah, but I gave you what they could not give you. I gave you love. I gave you a new name. I gave you a new identity. I gave you new stones and new ribbons and new sashes on your garments. You don't even know that there are things on your garments. You don't just have on a garment. There are things on your garments in the spirit. You may not be able to see it, but there are things that identifies you. And those ribbons and those sashes, they represent what you overcame and what you went through. What was meant for your bad, what Satan had meant to be Joseph's bad, to turn out bad, God turned it around and made it good. So God allowed many of us to go through certain things so that we can testify now of his goodness through what we endured. No, I went through this. And I'm letting you know that if I can get through that, you can get through it too, because that should have broke me. You know, one person shared a testimony yesterday of how they had to bury their daughter, and that hurt. That hurt just hearing that, because I lost the baby sister at the end of last year. Although it wasn't my own child, it still hurts to lose someone. And the person was saying how they literally lost their mind. They lost their mind. And you can only imagine losing a child. You know, you would rather it be you than them. And having to bury them up top of that, you can imagine just the loss of self. The loss of self, the heartbreaking, you can only imagine. So the person said that they lost their mind. But God gave them their mind back, because only God can give a person their mind back to have gone through something like that. That's death. That's real. You understand that, man, I'm never going to see this person in this light again, in this way again. And so the person said, God gave me my mind back. This should have crushed me. This should have destroyed me. This should have caused me to become bitter towards God and to be angry with God and to hate God yet. When I knew nothing else, when I knew who else can I turn to in these moments? Because sometimes you go to people and they don't understand because they're not in your shoes. But who else can understand you better than God? Who else? So the person turned to God. God gave them their mind back. Only God can do something like that. Only God can restore a person who's been through many different abusive relationships. Only God can restore a person who was a crack baby. I had family members who was a prison baby and a crack baby. You know, born in jail, born from a mother who did drugs where you know, she came out purple. You know, born in different situations, but only God can restore a person like that. Only God can fix the pieces and put it back together that the enemy tried to scatter and cast away. Only God can do that. Only God has power to do that. Only God has power to heal a broken heart. Only God has power to restore a person back to their foundation. Man, I felt like I could never be a human again. I felt as though I was an outcast. I felt as though I did not belong. And many of us, we felt that way when we were in the world. We felt that way. Lord, why can't I just fit in? Why can't I just be like everyone else? Why is their life so perfect? Why? Why do I get the short end of the stick? They were born with a silver spoon and a gold spoon in their mouth. Me, I barely have anything. Why? Why my life? Because I'm going to make your life a testimony. I'm going to use your life, and it's going to be a testimony unto the world that I am good. It's going to be known that I kill and I make alive. It's going to be known that I heal the broken heart. I forgive. I restore. I make whole. I make new. I identify. It's going to be said that I do these things. It's going to be said. And so I need someone to work through. I need someone who's willing and who's open. I need someone who says, Lord, I'm grateful for what you did because it made me who I am today. You know, sometimes I'm reminded of the different things that I went through. And I'm grateful now that the Lord took me through those things because I would not be grateful. If the Lord just gave us an easy life, we would not know how to appreciate him. We would not know how to be thankful for the things that he did deliver us from. You know, we would have this entitled mindset, but because the Lord took many of us through so much and we are where we are now, we can thank God for getting us through that. We can thank God for the strength that he gave us. Like, Lord, I didn't think that I was going to be able to get through that, but I did. And you were right there with me. And so the word of God tells us with our testimonies that these testimonies that we have is so that we can overcome. Our testimonies are so that we overcome. The word of God says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So it's going to be your testimony that sustains you and that keeps you when you're going through things. That's why he says, remember. That's what he told the children of Israel. Make memorials, because the road ahead into the promised land, it's going to be a challenging one. But don't get discouraged. Don't feel as though things were better back in the world, back in Egypt. No, remember what I did for you. Remember how many people had to die for you to be free. Remember the plagues and the different things that you saw the Egyptians go through. You were there. You saw what people in the world had to go through. You saw what your parents went through. You saw what happened in your family. You saw what you experienced as a child. Remember those things. Remember that I was there, even in those moments. Yeah, when you were at the abortion clinic and no one knew that you were there and you felt so alone, I was right there. Remember when you felt like there was no one to save you, when this person was taking advantage of you and you felt as though, God, get me out of this? I was there. I was there. Remember that day when you were supposed to be dead? I was there. You were supposed to be dead. You were not even supposed to be here. You were supposed to be dead. I was there. I was there. Remember when this happened? Do you remember this day? The Lord has to remind us. Do you remember this time? Do you remember this experience? Do you remember this event? I was there. I was there. I know you felt alone. I know you were angry at me. I know you were upset. I know you wish things would have gone another way. But remember, I was there. I was right there. Okay, so let me go. Revelation 12. Revelation 12. Let me see. Okay, so Revelation 12, verse 8. Verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of the brethren is cast down. It says, which accused them before our God day and night. You don't know? Satan is not your friend. He accuses you every single day and night before God, trying to get access to your life, trying to come and steal and kill and destroy. Lord, they did this. Lord, they said this. Lord, they didn't do this yet. Yeah, but I died for them. Yeah, but they repented. Yeah, but I loved them. The accuser of the brethren will be cast out. Verse 11, it says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, so the blood of Jesus that makes us clean, and by the word of their testimony. Our testimony is going to be strength for us in those times of adversity and opposition. Those testimonies, we're going to think back to it and We're going to be reminded, oh no, God is with me. I don't care what my situation looks like. This is why we can't live by what we see and how we feel, because what I see and how I feel, it can be a lie. It can be deceiving, because that may not be really what it is. This may not be real feelings. This may not be what the situation presents itself to be. This may be something else. And so I can't live by what I see and how I feel. I got to live by what I know that God said. I have to live by what he said in his word. And so by the word of their testimonies, and they loved not their lives unto death. We have to love not our lives to the point of death. That means that I have to be willing to die. If it comes down to it, I have to be willing to die, because I can't love my life to a point where I'm willing to do anything to save it. Jesus said, if you love your life, then you will try to save your life. And he said that you will lose it. If you try to save yourself in this life, you will lose it. But if you lay down your life for my sake, he says you will gain it. You will gain your life. And so what we have to begin to understand is that it's the strength of God that keeps us, but it's also our testimonies that we've gone through that's going to sustain us. That's why he allowed us to go through what we went through. You cannot have a testimony unless you've gone through a test. I cannot have a testimony unless I've gone through a test. Many of us, we've gone through different things. We've been on both sides of the fence. And the Lord had to take us through that, because he knew that that would later be used to glorify his name. And so now we share our testimonies with others, and we proclaim the goodness of God and what he delivered us from. Yeah, you got people who used to be abusers of drugs. You got people who used to be prostitutes and they used to sell their bodies. Yeah, you had people who used to be into stripping, and they used to be into porn. They used to be into things that they, may not even want to say, but they're gonna testify. They're gonna testify because they understand that's not me anymore, and God is getting the glory. They're gonna testify of who they used to be and how God delivered them. Oh no, it wasn't the patch that saved me from nicotine. It wasn't therapy. It wasn't rehab. It was God. It was Jesus. Jesus was the only one that could cleanse me of being an alcoholic. No, not rehab, not therapy, not taking this medication and that over-the-counter drug. No, it was Jesus. Jesus saved me from being a fornicator. Jesus saved me from being a murderer. I used to kill people. I used to molest people. I used to molest kids. I did things with underage girls, underage boys. That's people's testimonies. That's people's stories of what they did and how the world made them feel like a criminal. The world made them feel like you will never be forgiven for this. People were told stuff like that. You will never be forgiven for what you did. But Jesus came into the picture. It doesn't matter how many things that you did, how much of a bad person the world may have considered you. You are not bad enough that God cannot save you. You are not bad enough that God cannot cleanse you and wash you off. The prodigal son, he had an inheritance, and he wanted his inheritance. He wanted money, and he wanted to go into the world. And so the father let him go into the world. Sometimes you just have to let them go and let them bump their heads. Let them realize what you really were protecting them from. So he goes out and he's living his life. He's living his life, right? The young son, the prodigal son, he's living his life, and he's doing things with harlots, and he's spending his money loosely, and he's drinking. He's doing everything that he wanted to do by being in the world. He's doing all of that. But then one day, when everything is gone, he done spent everything. Like he doesn't have anything left. Anything. When it's all done and gone, then the Lord sends a famine in the land. When this person doesn't have anything left, the Lord sends a famine in this land. And this person cannot do anything for themselves. They can't provide for themselves. They don't have anywhere to lay. They have to go and work and feed swine. And it gets to a point where the person becomes so desperate that they were about to eat what the pigs or the swines were eating. And then it came to them. They came to themselves. They came to themselves. See, the enemy could have been talking to that person and telling that person, you'll never be forgiven. Look what you did. You made things worse. But he came to himself and he said, you know what? Even the servants at my father's house, they're living good. They're living good. You know what? I will go back. That's the thing. You got to know where to run. You can't run further and further into the world. You can't run further and further away from God. You got to run to God. So he said, you know what? I'll go back to my father's house. He may not be happy with me, but at least I'll be there where he is. I'll just be a servant. And so he goes back. He goes back. He fights through the emotions. He fights through the embarrassment and the shame that says, but you left though. But he, this was the reason why he didn't give you what you wanted up front, because he was trying to protect you from this. So he's fighting through all of that. And he goes back home, and his father sees him afar off, and his father runs to him and meet him in the way. And in that moment, he was preparing himself for whatever. Like, I don't know what you're going to have me do. I don't know if you're going to want me to be a servant. I don't know. But his father began dressing him, giving him new garments, shoes on his feet, a ring on his hand, a crown on his head. And then his father goes and prepares a feast for him. He goes and prepares a feast for him. And he was so happy. He said, no, this my son was once lost, but now he is found. Like, I don't care what you did out there. I don't want to know what you did out there. You came back home. You came running. That's why it's a beautiful thing when a person who backslides come back. They come home. Like, no, I'm going to love you even the more. You left. You left, but now you're back. I'm going to put garments on you. I'm gonna give you jewelry, bracelets, and rings. I'm gonna put that all on you. I'm gonna give you a whole party and a whole celebration. I know you don't deserve it. Daddy, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this. I embarrassed you. I made your reputation of no good. I went out there and I did things with my body. It's okay, my daughter. It's okay, my son. You are forgiven. I love you. I love you. I'm going to set you a feast. I'm going to invite everyone, and I'm going to let them know that my son, my daughter was once lost. Now they're found. They were once out there in the world, but now they're safe in their home. And that's all that matters. And that's how God sees his children. God loves his children. He loves them so much that he's willing to go to the end of the earth for you. Listen, my testimony is God literally went to hell for me. He came and he got me out of the pits of hell as I was there and I was crying out, Lord, save me. Save me. The same place that I was taught and told did not exist. I was there. Why am I so confused? How did this happen? How did my life end up here? Why am I here? Why did this happen to me? I was told this place didn't exist. I cried. And he saved me. He saved me. He allowed me to experience so much. Well, why was my life so hard? Why was my father not there? Oh, you don't realize. You don't realize that I did this for a purpose. I did this for a purpose. And now I realize, like, Lord, I'm grateful. I'm glad the Lord did not put certain people in my lives, because him putting them in your lives would have kept you away from him. You don't know that. If I would have put that person in your life, you would have never came to me. The Lord knew that. The Lord knew that. He knows that. And he knew that. If I would have put your father in your life, you would have never served me, because you would have been so connected. You would have been deeply tied to this person. You would have never served him, because you would have been doing it. You would have been willing to do anything for this person. But he said, I had to remove certain people out of your life on purpose. That's why it's so easier now to do without them. Lord, I'm so happy to be in your will. I'm so happy to be in you. And I don't care who doesn't like that I'm a fool for you. I don't care who doesn't like that I'm zealous for the Lord. I don't care. I don't care. And it makes it a lot more easier to go forward, because you don't have certain emotional ties with certain people, because they weren't there anyways. They were not there anyways, but the Lord set that all up. Every single thing in your life, the Lord set it all up. From the moment you were born till now, you were destined to reign. You were destined to judge. You were destined to be a king and a priest, a daughter of the king, a son of the king. Like, from birth, you were already handpicked. There were so many babies that the Lord overlooked and passed by. But you're like the Moses of this generation. You are chosen. You are handpicked. There's something special about you that he sees, and that he loves, and that he values, and that he wants. Like, no, I want this one. And so it doesn't matter what it takes. Although things are going to be hard for them, it's going to work out for their good. They'll see one day. And when they do, they'll thank me. They'll thank me, and they'll serve me. They'll serve me. They'll never leave me. As many as have been forgiven much, they love much. No, this one is going to love me forever. This one, they're never going to leave me, because they're going to be so grateful of what I did for them and how I made them free. And who the Son sets free, we know, is free indeed. And so we are a free people. We are a free people. We were prisoners back in the world, but now we are free. And so freedom looks like something. Our lifestyles look like something. Our lifestyles are a praise unto God. You don't know what he did for me. And so when you see me all sold out for him, you got to understand what he did for me and where he brought me from. When you see me preaching the way I preach, when you see me praising the way I praise and worshiping the way I worship, do know that he saved me from he saved me from a lot of different things. Those that they know. Like, this is why we are the way that we are. This is why we're sold out. This is why he's chosen us to be a part of a chosen church. Now, I'm a part of a church that's set ablaze. I'm a part of a church that's an earth shaker, a planet shaker. No, I'm a part of a church that's magnificent. I'm a part of a church that's special. I'm a part of a church that is not one to be reckoned with. The earth has not seen a church like this in a long time. That's what I'm a part of. I'm a part of something special. I'm a part of something special. And so we need to be grateful. We need to be grateful for what God has done for us throughout our lives. And we need to worship God, and we need to praise God, and we need to be fully in holy surrender. That has to be our story, because that's the only way we're going to overcome. That's the only way we are going to overcome, is by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So that's it.